Hey, this is Pamela Riemenschneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review. Greg, top story this week was a zinger out of Spud Country.
Yeah, a potato broker got sent to jail. Usually you lose your business and maybe get sued or something like that. But yeah, our readers will have to check that out. I put in links to the court documents, which I'm not an attorney, and I read through it. It's pretty long, and it took a long darn time. I mean, the judges swapped out over the case. It took over 10 years. Um, it was such a long drawn out process. It went through like courts through COVID protocols. The prosecutor changed several times. Um, it's an interesting story. Of course, Blue Book rated his company when rated, not RAID, rated his company when it started, and so you can kind of see the progression of how his company did, and it was doing really strong for a while, and then started to slip, and then all these allegations came out about theft of growers. The local news coverage, we didn't get into this, but we did link to it. If someone wants to read the all the guts of a good country music song, this guy's attorney had the saddest story ever. So I'll let our readers dig into that to read
Yeah.
how bad it was for this guy.
Yeah, how bad it was for this guy. It took 10 years to get sentenced in this, and it looks like he's going to probably serve his time at home with an ankle monitor. Um,
Probably in
in,
California. He's since
in
moved.
in other legal news, however, on the other side of things, I had a story this week about just a quick write up about what's going on with Amazon Fresh. So the funny thing is that I get breaking news, I get news alerts that say Amazon Fresh layoffs and everything, and so I go look at their site and they're like, hey, check out our new format and all this cool stuff we're adding. It is classic corporate spin on things. So Amazon Fresh, you and I have both been to the one in Chicago, and actually we'll be maybe in the area next week. Maybe we can take a look and see if it's changed at all. They are taking a look at their store operations. Of course, they officially paused expansion of the Amazon Fresh concept while they reevaluate. Earnings is today, Thursday, actually. So it'll be yesterday by the time everyone sees this. I'm sure that some more stuff is going to come out about what they're planning to do with the physical store locations. But for now, they added Krispy Kreme donuts, added coffee, taking out some of those store people, because those employees are most of the people that we saw in the store, and trying to make it what I saw, the analysis I saw on LinkedIn about a lot of the folks that really are following this concept are saying that it looks more and more like a regular grocery store. And in produce news, they added free fruit for kids.
I also saw that they're scaling back on their smart cards and putting in more self-check. So it sounds like it didn't really catch on as well as they hoped. And as we found, it was, I mean, I guess if you do it time after time, you start to get really good at it, but it was certainly not faster when you're figuring it out than self-check.
Right. I mean, there's a certain age group of shoppers, and we'll get into that in a few minutes here, who might really enjoy not having to deal with waiting in line and the self-checkout process, the insert cash or select payment type. They've got a song that's like a TikTok sound of that, set to music, and they really don't like the self-checkout concept. So there's perhaps, as we move forward and the number of retailers that are doing things like this, doing the research on the just walk out kind of stuff, it's got a future. But I think the future is more like an airport convenience store and not your grocery store. So right now, the state of it is that people just aren't getting the carts. And they want to get more bodies in the store, to try to get more people shopping, because right now it's a beautiful showcase of food, but not very many people are actually in there.
No, that's a problem.
Well, in other trendy news, Curious Plot agency has a really interesting study about And what I liked about it, the study, what is it called? They all have like a consumer curiosity report. But they narrowed down their demographics to what they're calling food forward consumers, trendsetters, people that are like looking for tiger nut flour or whatever, the Whole Foods trends kind of folks. And they did a report looking at what they're looking for. And it was so relatable. I mean, it's like they are in my cabinets right now trying to figure out what I'm trying to make.
Are you
Because
a food forward consumer?
yes, I would definitely self-identify as a food forward consumer. Come on, man.
I don't consider myself that. I'm more traditional shopper, I think.
I mean, right now it's just a struggle. Everyone is burnt out, everyone is tired, everyone is broke, as far as they want us to save money, save time, and just not have to think about it. So one of the key discoveries that they had in this study was more than 85% of respondents are very or extremely curious about easy under 30-minute meals. So even the people that are out there making wackadoo foods want to make it in under 30 minutes. I don't want to spend the entire day in the kitchen.
I think when we consider that their subject was food forward people, I would think that that the other 90% of American consumers would be alongside with that, and maybe even want it a little more convenient than under 30, maybe even under 15.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, last night I put together dinner in 10 minutes and my kids are like, this is so basic. And I'm like, guys, listen, this is so far beyond what most people are eating. So just be happy that it actually has like a meat, a vegetable, and a side, and it's not something that I completely microwaved. So, because there are so many of us out there who would either that or go through the drive-through. I'm gonna be honest. I've been hitting that way more often than I ever would have before, just because I don't want to think about food right now.
School hasn't even started yet.
I'm looking at school as a vacation from work from home parenting. Right now, I'm an unpaid bus driver. One of the other things that we saw on here, functional nutrition curiosity is very high. I'm seeing that on social media as well. Kind of checking out what foods people think are going to make them feel better. Whether that's supplements, whether that's diet changes. We got a whole campaign about that, Food Rooted in a Better Mood, from the Produce for Better Health Foundation. So hopefully they stumble across that as they're looking around through there. And then Gen Z shoppers, of which I have one here in my house, are influenced more and more by TikTok. And I can confirm, I probably get 6 or 7 TikToks from my 14-year-old son on things that he saw that he wants to make. And
Not that he wants you to make.
Well, either he wants to make it or he wants me to make it. That's probably gonna be like a 75-25 split on I'm making it.
Right.
But I think that trend is just going to, as we have seen with every social media format, as it's introduced, it starts out young and then it starts skewing older, and then the young kids jump off to something else, and then the old people will own TikTok in 2-3 years. It'll be my grandma on there.
We'll see on that. I was at the Food Service Expo last week, and what we talked about in last week's episode, I mean, there was obviously some of that. What we didn't talk about was kind of that functional angle. And one of the speakers talked about the rising importance of explaining what ingredients are and what ingredients do. And in the past, anytime restaurants or chefs tried to play up the healthiness of a product, it was a kiss of death, because that's not what consumers want. But if you can play up the function rather than the healthiness, it's not quite as big a turnoff, and you're not quite as feeling like you want to turn the other direction because it's not going to taste good. And so I think that is an opportunity for fresh produce, because of the specific benefits that so many fruits and vegetables have. And just basically it's calling healthy food something different that's more appealing.
Right. Yeah, that can only mean good news for a lot of things. I just think of the meteoric rise over the last 10 years of turmeric. Back in the day, the only time you ever knew of anything about turmeric for most just mainstream Americans was it's what makes mustard bright yellow. And now I saw at the Organic Produce Summit a clamshell this size, like a pound clamshell that was half ginger, half fresh turmeric. And it had recipes on it to make your own functional juice shots at home. So instead of buying the little bottle for $5 or $3 or whatever, you can buy the fresh ingredient and grind it up and do your own juicing for that. And here's what actually makes that functional. So you can just add it to anything else, by the way. If
Yeah,
you don't
I
want.
actually had some of that from Aldi. We got some when I was shopping with my kid the last time. She suggested we get some, and so we have some. And I know it has anti-inflammatory properties. So, I'm going closer to foodie, right?
You're also looking for the functional anti-inflammatory part of that, because how much golf are you playing? you know?
I try to stay healthy, and it's healthier for me to be in competitive things than try to run it through my kids.
Well, keep your joints healthy with
Yeah.
some anti-inflammatory juice shots that you bought at Aldi, or you can make it yourself. So see, case in point right there. That's exactly how it's working with a lot of consumers right now. And there are so many things in the produce department that can take advantage for this. Menu Trends can take advantage of this. And they just got to get that information somewhere. And increasingly it is TikTok. The only problem with that is we need more content creators. We need more people pushing this message out, because there's a whole other side of food bullshit out there where, I mean, there's people out there that are reading the MSDS on Appeal Sciences stuff and calling it a fungicide.
Well, there's a new movie out on Netflix that I'm going to watch called Poisoned, which I know Tim York was interviewed for it, and I just saw it like pop up yesterday, so I'm going to watch that and probably cover that and see what I think. I'm not optimistic. Although I've talked
Huge.
to Bill Marler before, and he has done some good things for consumers, but he was in the preview, and I think I'm going to disagree with a lot of the takes.
If we want to talk to a produce company that has been bitten by Netflix and completely erroneous stuff that everyone who watches any kind of documentary stuff on Netflix needs to talk to Christopher Ranch about an entire documentary about all these bad things, and then one little disclaimer at the very end. Oh, we found through our research that Christopher Ranch didn't do any of the stuff with you that we possibly accused them of. And it took years of PR to try to dig out of that. So go ahead and watch this thing. But I just remember from that experience of what kind of documentary photography and videography they're doing. I would not call it documentary journalism or investigative journalism. It's
No,
entertainment.
I don't think it's going to be journalism. But as far as entertainment goes, we can't shut off Week in Review without talking about one of my favorite stories of the week. I got to write about golf. And it was such a surprise thing because I was watching the Open Championship, which we used to call the British Open before the Brits got a little uppity. So the winner is this little lefty grinder player named Brian Harman, who's been around a long time. He's been at the top of the leaderboard on majors on the first 2 days, and he always fades. And he ended up winning this tournament and winning a major, and he'll be on the Ryder Cup team now. And he was wearing this hat this whole time that said Megacorp. And I kind of saw it, and it didn't really dawn on me. And then I read a story in the golf coverage about how people were looking up this company and making all these jokes about it being a Bond villain's company. And it's hilarious because Megacorp, it turns out, is a pretty well-known logistics company, and they ship a lot of fresh produce. And so I got a story out of them this week, and I talked to their marketing director, and they said they had a great time with it, and they've been sponsoring him for like 5 years, and he comes to their offices at least once a year. and they said they got incredible publicity, and they even joke themselves about their name. It's it is a funny name, but it's catchy, and it's
Hey,
I
I
like
was
it.
at the Global Show back in October and I walked past it and they were handing out stainless steel cups. I should have went down to my kitchen and got it. And I was standing there with my friend from Walmart and we both wanted one of those cups just because the name is hilarious. So marketing
I'm
is
going by the
working.
booth at PMA, see if I can get one of those hats. I mean, how what better hat on the golf course? Megacorp.
That's amazing. And that shows you that, I mean, one-off sponsorship there. They probably got in there pretty early on him, and it works great for them. So, okay then.
That's what you dream of when you sponsor a golfer and put your logo on their hat. He was on TV for 4 days, and the golfing world saw it. And I think the PR person there said their web traffic increased over 5,000% during the tournament. So that's pretty good.
I bet you they got the same kind of buzz from that. Like just the PR person was just like, what is happening? Why are we trending? As Publix did when Lionel Messi went shopping in Miami at Publix. They were probably
Well,
like,
Megacorp
nobody,
does pay Brian Harmon to wear their hat, so they at least a
right.
little
A
bit
little
on the
different.
lookout.
All right, well, that's it for the Produce Reporter Weekend Review. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up.